You're listening to Legacy Lawyers, hosted by Michael Haslam and Nathan Croxford.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us for our podcast today. How are you, Taylor?
Doing all right, man. Yeah, just enjoying kind of a little bit of overcast weather today, which I find is just perfect for practicing law. Do you need to analyze that more?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, I don't know how to take that, but I'll just
No,
have
it's something about it. It just makes me feel like, hey, it's, good atmosphere to, get in, write some documents, put some things together, really kind of do some deep thinking. Doesn't like want to draw me outside too much or anything like that.
Okay, so you're not like, man, it's all nice out there. I need to be out.
Yeah. Right? Or like fresh powdered snow and you're like, well, I should probably be out there skiing, or something like that. But, just this is nice. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, good inside time.
Just no weather. Gotcha.
There you go.
Well, I'm excited for our topic today. We're actually going to revisit a topic from over 2.5 years ago. So back in January of 2023, for those who want to go listen to it, it'd be episode 81. Me and Nathan, we challenged OpenAI, right? ChatGPT. We said, hey, let's see if it's really smarter than a lawyer, and we gave it questions. Saw how well it answered them. We found that it did okay with some of the softballs, but anything with more complexity and nuance, it was giving incorrect legal advice. And at the end of its answers, it would remind everyone that it's not a lawyer and that you should talk to a lawyer. So
always good advice. I think that's always good advice.
Yeah, which is good advice. That's them just CYA, right? Covering their butt. So speaking of that, I'm going to do that for us real quick. Thanks to everyone for joining this podcast. Taylor and I are attorneys, but we do this podcast for entertainment purposes only. So anything we talk on here, we talk about on here, please do not take as legal advice for your situation, and make sure you consult a qualified professional for your specific needs. So with that out of the way, I thought we should do a similar format as we did back in episode 81, Taylor.
Yeah, I think this is pretty cool for kind of the growth of this particular industry as well, and not the legal industry, of course, but seeing the way that the landscape has really changed with new chatbots showing up and everybody trying to understand a little bit better what's the best way to kind of navigate, using this, and how is it going to play into, to our new environment. I have to admit, when you guys did episode 81, I was a new attorney to the firm, and I couldn't have even imagined where we'd be now, especially with, vis-a-vis using chatbots, AI, any of this, right? I don't know. Did you have kind of that same perspective, Mike?
Yeah, I was pretty excited about the whole, artificial intelligence concept, and I was pretty excited to see where it would go. And in some ways, it's moved faster than I thought it would. In other ways, it's moved slower. I think the new thing is the AI agents, right? And what can an agent do? Which tells us then, they should have been, AI should be at the place now where the initial concept, right? You can ask it a question or you can talk to it and it will give you back like good, reliable information, and it will be intuitive and creative and can think through what you're trying to do. If we've moved on to the AI agent, right, what can it actually do on the internet for me or on a computer for me, then I would assume we've kind of mastered or kind of nailed the first step of, can it answer questions correctly?
Yeah. And so maybe for our listeners and for myself as well, what is an AI agent, just in case anybody's lost on that?
Yeah, so when all the AI platforms came out, you could go in and ask a question, right, and it would give you an answer.
Fancy Google. That's all that it was. Right?
Yeah, it was a interactive Google. Before, Google would just send you to websites that might have the answer, right? What's the closest website? Now, actually, now when you Google, right, Gemini,
Yeah.
their AI will give you the AI answer, and then they give you all the websites below.
Right, and kind of to cite back to, oh, this is where all that information is coming from, and those kinds of things.
Yeah, starting to try to point you to the sources.
Hmm.
Well, that's cool if I ask it, hey, what's the best vacation in, Europe? What's the time, plan the dream vacation in Europe for me. It will
Hmm. There you
spit
go.
out all the stuff. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So it says to go in October. It says stay at this hotel. So now I log into that hotel, and I find out they're closed for that season, or they're under renovations, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it says, okay, well, then go do this activity, and I go down to the activity, and there's a problem there. Whatever it is, right? It's not like
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was just giving you the information, but it wasn't like always real time information. And then you still had to do all the hard parts, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, like going and visiting some cool castles in Ireland or whatever is a good idea. But like, and it can tell you some of the popular ones, but like
Yeah.
getting it scheduled, getting it planned,
Yeah.
all that detail, like
Mhm.
us humans have to do that still, and that sucks.
Right.
We don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
I had, in fact, that's a great point. I've always wanted to do one of those trips where, you go and swim with dolphins or something like that. And I remember just thinking, hey, there's dolphins in this particular place. Oh, I should just, do ChatGPT and say, hey, schedule me the whole thing to happen. And come to find out, of course, there were the seasons that you do it. And so the cheapest flight, of course, when I said, hey, do my cheapest flight to get to this place, cheapest flight wasn't during dolphin swimming season, the whole thing. So just like you said, having to actually vet all of that information that came in. So I think a lot of us, a lot of people want to say, oh, well, I can just rely on that to do everything I want it to. But in the end, potentially, it's not doing all those things. So is that maybe a difference with the agent, like you had said?
Yeah, so like, I asked ChatGPT to plan my vacation, and it gave me, this on itinerary. But like, if I'm really wanting to make sure I have a good trip, I should just call the travel agent and said, this is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do, and they would have
Yeah.
done it for me, right?
Hmm.
So it's not doing the actual thing that's hard about something. AI couldn't do. It could
Yeah.
tell you about it, but it couldn't actually do the hard part.
Yeah.
Same thing with legal, right? Like, hey, what kind of trust should I have that will do X, Y, Z? You could tell me the type of trust. It might even tell me some of the verbiage, but then like actually to execute the trust properly, move the assets into the trust properly,
Mhm.
and do all that, like it couldn't actually do that. Like the hard part was still there. I still needed somebody, a professional who knew what they were doing to help me do it. So that's the
Yeah.
idea of the agent, right? The agent now, not only would it have created that itinerary, it would go ahead and log into Expedia and book the flight. It would actually
Oh, wow.
contact the hotel and see if they're actually open for that time of the year. Um,
Wow, cool.
so agents can take action on your behalf using a computer.
Yeah.
If it's not on a computer, then the agent can't do it. That's for
So
robots.
it's
We gotta
not
wait for the
making a phone
robots.
call. That's the
It's
next
what?
step is our Tesla robot that comes in and makes the phone call for us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what's crazy. Actually, a lot of the phone systems are computer based now, so the agents actually can make the phone calls. But but if you need them to go, do something in person, that's where they kind of fell and can't do that yet.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so the agents are the new thing this year, and we're seeing different ones be created and different platforms that can do them. OpenAI, when you log into it, you can click the plus button and you can go into agent mode, right? So you can say,
Oh,
hey,
cool.
agent, create this PowerPoint for me, not just what should I put in my presentation, but actually create the PowerPoint
Yeah.
presentation. So
Very cool. Geez. Well, you had kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, at the beginning, and I know that the way that it was always kind of phrased to me when OpenAI came out was, hey, I can say, write a contract in Utah to sell my boat, and it'll just write up a contract and everything's fine. Well, we all kind of realized, oh wait, it will give you something that is a contract, maybe, who knows? But because you don't know what that's supposed to look like, you don't have any real great way to vet it, right? You're kind of trying to realize what you're supposed to do. Even more difficult through estate planning, because oftentimes with estate planning, the time when it becomes effective for a lot of us would be when we become incapacitated or when we pass away. So it's those people now trying to manage things when we're no longer available. And if I did it wrong, then who do I have to blame? Well, they can blame me and curse my grave, and that's about it.
Yeah, like if you mess up an estate plan, it it's going to negatively impact the people you leave behind, right? The people you love the most, people you care about the most. The whole reason you're doing the planning was for them, not for you. You've passed away, right?
Right.
So that was the test, right? Like if I put something into any of these AI models and say, hey, help me create an estate plan or help me do any legal work, the product I get back, is it good enough for me to have the peace of mind that I'm not leaving a mess or a problem for my family?
Yeah, right. I kind of think of those. I bought a house that was a little bit older home. You know, it was before the turn of this century for sure. And I know that there was a lot of wiring issues in there that were kind of like, hey, I felt like this kind of worked and it worked for a while and I guess that it's okay. But I was the one who was then dealing with all of those other issues on the back end just because, oh, this person wasn't doing it on the front end because they thought, oh, maybe I'll just kind of do it on my own.
So the previous owners did kind of a DIY, on your electrical.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got
so then we moved in and it was like, I don't think these exposed wires should be here. And and of course when they came out to the inspector who came out, he's like, this all needs to be changed. Like, hey, the person who was here, they kind of did their own thing here, so this all probably needs to be taken care of. So, I guess the idea is that you just don't want necessarily a DIY for something that really would be kind of like a legal document.
Well,
especially when it matters.
Yeah, so let's test it. I mean, like last time, we asked ChatGPT in particular a couple legal questions related to what we do, and like I said, a couple were okay, and then a couple were definitely wrong. So let's try again. Like, do you have a couple questions that you like that you want to start with, or?
Sure.
Easy one
that I think is let's see, a good question that I think. Let me see. Are you just logging into ChatGPT?
Yeah, I'm in ChatGPT. I'm going to ask it, who needs a trust?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay. So, first of all, it told me great question, which was a great question. Then it defines what a trust is. It was a great
question, dang. Nice.
And then it tells us not everyone needs a trust, but many people benefit from having one depending on their circumstances. And then it goes through and it gave about 8 scenarios where someone would benefit from a trust. And then it gave kind of 2 scenarios where people wouldn't. So let's just read the 2 scenarios that wouldn't, because I think that's easier to weed people out. So individuals with very modest estates, if all assets can pass by beneficiary designations like retirement accounts, life insurance, POD, bank accounts, and probate avoidance isn't a concern. So if you have a modest estate, you can pass everything with beneficiary nominations, and you're not worried about probate, then you probably don't need a trust.
Okay. I mean, that seems, knowing a little bit more about the law, I think it seems like it's, a little bit broad, not necessarily state specific. We know that there are kind of those state specific thresholds that it was kind of alluding to, to determine whether or not you had a modest estate or not.
Yeah, and then it gave the key benefits of the trust at the end. So avoid probate, provide asset protection in certain structures, allow greater control over distributions, facilitate tax savings for larger estates, enable professional or family management of assets if needed. So now I'm going to go ahead and ask it kind because that was a broad question, so we got a broad answer, right?
Yep.
Let's just say, who needs a trust in Utah?
Ooh, there you go.
Okay, so it's laying out like, so it gave us 7 or 8 reasons you should have a trust.
Okay.
And then it gave the same reasons you shouldn't, but it added in a threshold. So if your estate is small, under $100,000 with no real estate, then you can transfer property without probate.
Ooh, that's interesting because immediately, does it give a site in there as well?
It does not. So I could,
Okay. And a site, of course, being a citation to say, hey, where's this pulling from the law? What Utah law is it using for this? There's even just again, as somebody who practices in this area, of course, is to say that, oh, I know that there's also another instance, at least one other instance, in which probate would be required, and that is kind of the circumstances involving how many vehicles you own, which would then require probate as well. And it just didn't include that in there, which is, so, if I just relied on this on my own and said, oh, that should be fine, then I would have kind of missed that extra block there. Oh, that's interesting. I thought that was kind of, a lot of these seem like easier answers that, for it to have kind of missed that one, that is kind of wildly telling, I think.
yeah. Well, so that's a great point, right? So I asked it what law gives you the 100K limit, and it cites the code section of Utah's 75.3.1201 and the small state affidavit rules, and then but it didn't give any other reference. So then I asked it, I'm like, well, what if I had 6 vehicles with a total value under $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't flag that as an issue.
Oh,
It says
wow.
it's fine.
And for those of you who are listening, of course, you should be able to, you should go and talk to another attorney about this, but we can tell you that absolutely this would be something that would trigger probate.
Mm-hmm. So Utah has a separate statute, which ChatGPT is not finding and not being aware of, even though I gave it a really good hint, right? And what if I had 6 vehicles? I gave it very specific stats. It applied those facts to the one statute it knew. It's ignoring the second statute for vehicles. So now I'm going to ask it, does Utah have a statute for limiting how many vehicles? Transferred. All right, we'll see what it finds. So, yeah, now it found it, right?
Of course.
So, yeah, the statute limits you to transferring title of no more than 4 vessels, motor vehicles, trailers, or semi-trailers under a survivorship affidavit. So, and then but it was smart enough to say other conditions apply. If it's over 100, then you still have a problem, right? Over 100,000.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So if I
Now-
have 2 vehicles, but their total value is more than $100,000, then, or if I have more than 2 vessels, I love that they lead with vessels.
Now it changed its answer. If you have 6 vehicles, that would exceed the more than 4 limit for this affidavit. Like, oh. Well, dang it. I thought I was going to be able to rely on ChatGPT for my legal advice.
Right. Well, I had another one that actually, while we were doing this, Mike, that I had looked up for myself. This might be also a little bit more technical, nuanced question. This is one that I know that I've had clients that have come up to me before and asked, which is, say that I am trying to create a trust for myself, and I have a child who is, due to an illness or an injury, they're already starting to receive benefits from the state, right? And I know that, hey, long term, they're going to receive Social Security, they're going to receive Medicaid, right? Now, we know that putting together a trust, if they receive those assets from me just outright, even if it's through a trust, if it was just, my child who's on these state benefits, if they receive those assets outright, then they actually would probably lose those benefits if they were just to receive them. So we'd need some planning for that. And in fact, the language that I wrote in was, okay, write trust language to protect a child of mine who is on Medicaid from losing Medicaid. Tried to use a little bit more convoluted language there, right? Just to say, hey, what would it do? What's it going to provide me? Here's what's great is it actually did attempt to write what we call supplemental needs trust language. This is very similar language that Mike and I put into the trust that we put together to meet that specific requirement, and to protect beneficiaries from having to lose those benefits. Here is what I found is kind of the problem. Although looking at the version of the language that I have, this seems interesting. It's hitting on a lot of pieces that I think would be relevant. It's not just talking about Medicaid, but it's also talking about Social Security, and it's talking about some of these things. But it goes back to the same comment that you and I had, Mike, which is, but how do you know that this is going to do what you want?
Yeah.
Right? If I was a concerned parent and was just writing this and saying, you know what, I'm going to DIY this, like the wiring in my house, and I'm going to just make this work, right? And if you say, oh, well, look, I put this language together, and then when is this supposed to be effective? Oh, when I'm incapacitated or I've passed away. If you've just relied on this language, the way that it's specifically written in here to begin with is actually first-party supplement or special needs trust language and not third-party special needs trust language. It makes a comment about that at the bottom, but it doesn't give you the distinction of, well, then what does that look like? How am I supposed to pull these pieces out? I noticed also as well, it gives no other guidance other than don't violate the rules of Medicaid. Just
in
that
the trust, just the
yes,
general
in the trust language.
trustee, follow all the
Yep.
rules of Medicaid.
Trustee shall not distribute to them in such a way that they lose those benefits. In which case, that then puts the onus back on the trustee to understand all of that. And this was, I think, 6 paragraphs that they've just kind of included in there to say, yeah, that should suffice.
6
Just
paragraph.
use, yep, quick. I know when you're, I'm sure in your mind comparing back to what ours usually say, and to think they did it in 6, huh? Well, okay, wow, that's good job, ChatGPT. You've tried to do something very difficult. But I think it just points back to the same idea that I, as a practicing attorney who've done these kinds of trusts, would be able to take this language and possibly make it into something that the client would need, so having seen these be used before in the past.
Yeah, you would know what to edit to make it actually viable.
Well, and especially here, working in Utah, having used these to protect assets for individuals from Medicaid and to allow them to stay on those programs, I know the way that those program managers here are able to do particular things. And so I know, oh, this language is fine, or this needs to be more robust. And this also, I would be able to also know who that trustee is to say, let me give a little bit more guidance here on how this is supposed to be distributed, because this will be able to help out a little bit more, which is something that, ChatGPT just isn't going to be able to jump into for you, right?
It's true. It's true. So that's 2 things. That's 2 challenges we've given the AI, and they've failed us. Should we try one more, or should we stop picking on it?
Sure. Poor ChatGPT. It's doing its best, Mike. This is ChatGPT 5. By the way, this is ChatGPT that I have personally paid for. This is not your basic free version. This is a paid account.
Yeah.
Yeah, it knows the questions I ask. And for it to have kind of come back with this response is kind of surprising to me.
Well, and that's the thing. Like we didn't talk at all what questions to ask. We just hey, let's throw in a common question or a common thing and just see how good it could do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get one more. Let's get one more question just to see if it can be right 33% of the time. So we'll go. We've talked about trust. We talked about special needs trust. Should we talk about asset protection?
Ooh, yeah, that's always a good one.
Okay. Should we ask it? Should we just ask it what states have asset protection trusts?
Oh, there you go. That's a broad one that you could look up. Probably even Google would be able to give you some information like that.
Yeah, let's see if it knows that, and then we'll go down a little further. Okay. Yeah, so it just gave me a list. It failed, but it got most of them.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it didn't include them all. That's funny.
Oh, that's
So
weird. Did it include you too?
it's missing Alabama,
Oh, wow.
and I don't actually have the full list memorized or in front of me. I just know there's about 18 to 19 states. It gave me a list of 17 states. I know for a fact Alabama has a statute because I have clients that have asset protection trusts there, and we've co-counseled on some things with that state's asset
Yeah.
protection trust. So, like, I know it should be on the list, and it says as of 2025. So, so, but like most of the states are there, so it got most of them, but it is missing at least one. And then it does tell us the most popular jurisdictions, which is pretty on point: Nevada, South Dakota, Alaska, Delaware.
Yeah.
Those are pretty popular because of some of their tax-friendly rules. And then it does give us Utah's statute.
Great. Okay.
And it asks if it wants me to build, if I'd like a comparison chart built. Should I ask it
Cool.
why it left out Alabama? Why did
Yeah. There you go.
you? Let's see what it says. What the excuse is. I think I stumped it. It's just thinking. Oh no, good catch. It's giving me the good catch. Good catch.
Oh, nice.
Alabama does have an asset protection trust statute, but it's different from the classics. Okay, that's his excuse.
Oh. Well, good catch. I mean, robots, sometimes they too can can miss out on this. Do you want to know real quick what my question was that I asked also at the same time?
Yeah.
I asked, will AI chatbots replace attorneys?
Ooh.
Always good to see, what its opinion is on the subject. It says, short answer, no. AI chatbots won't replace attorneys, but they will dramatically change the profession. And you know what? ChatGPT
Yeah.
5 paid version, I agree with that. I think I can get behind that. I think that it's the reasons why, and I really like why. Oh, and it even gives me little emojis associated with these things too, which is pretty great. It says that, of course, with attorneys, we don't just provide information, we weigh facts, apply judgment, negotiate, and advocate in court, right? We also strategize, we look at goals and human factors, and it very, very blatantly brings up here that we also meet ethical duties that AI just can't bear.
It can't think
Right?
ethically, right?
Yeah, because it's trying to meet this one particular requirement, and therefore it says, "Oh, well, I will just focus on this one thing, life of this one client over any other circumstances or those kinds of things," right? I'm not sure how much that applies in estate planning for some of those circumstances. I can't think of a good one off the top of my head that it would potentially infringe on. But to kind of side with ChatGPT in this regard, to say that, you know what, I think that ChatGPT and other chatbots like this, they will do what I think is a good maxim for it, is that ChatGPT and AI chatbots, they won't replace attorneys. But attorneys who use AI chatbots well will replace attorneys who don't, right? And it kind of comes back to the old, attorneys who insist on typewriters and attorneys who just really couldn't get behind this whole email, the electronic filing thing, and insisted on, publishing just with the court, printed documents, those kinds of things. I remember actually working in some jurisdictions where they still even required that. And I mean, that's just, I'm right.
I mean, like, there's still some attorneys in the profession who will dictate, right, into a recorder.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah.
give that to their paralegal or assistant to type up the documents.
Wow.
And
We should introduce those guys to, ChatGPT.
no, yeah, and I've had opposing counsel where like I never emailed them. I emailed their secretary, and their secretary
Wow.
would email me back, speaking as if they were them.
My goodness.
And it was just always really like they just said no, I'm not adopting email, right? Like until they had like absolutely had to. And they still didn't themselves. They just had someone else on their team adopt it for them.
Jeez.
And so if you think that was a technology jump,
Right, and we all think of kind of the necessity of necessity of email. The fact that we're even trying to change some of our culture about emails, when to check them, what you're not supposed to be as responsive. You need to actually have a time when you should answer them, or those kinds of things, right? Just so then you're not constantly just trying to put out the fire and trying to always, be as responsive as possible. Every minute, every day, somebody can contact you, right?
yeah. Yeah, there's all the ethics around that. So AI generally, right? These AI agents, AI generally is going to continue to change how everyone approaches legal. I think if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. I probably can't do my own legal work on ChatGPT. I probably still need a lawyer for anything important, at least. It is gonna still change a little bit how people interact with their lawyer, because if they give you some legal advice, I mean, it's still kind of easy to go into ChatGPT to be like, hey, my lawyer said this. Is there any other rules related to this, or is there any other things that could happen? And so, it will spit something back. It might be wrong.
Yeah.
But that client could then go back to their attorney and say, what about this? And then the attorney's got to be able to say, hey, that is not correct because of XYZ, or that's a great idea, or that actually is accurate, or maybe he didn't even know about it, right? Like attorneys don't know every single thing. So it's going to make attorneys have to be even better, I think, and more thorough, because I think there's this other resource that does have a lot of knowledge. It doesn't necessarily apply that knowledge to the facts correctly, which that's what a lawyer does well, right? Here's the problem. When you apply it to the law, this is your outcome. This is what you should do. And
Right.
But I think us as attorneys have to be like prepared for that. Like our clients are going to have good follow-up questions for us, and we got to address.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's something that I kind of love about the culture that we have, is we have kind of this understanding when we come into these consultations and when the clients come to the consultations. And I usually will say, hey, if you've researched any of this, if you've done any of this before, great, let's talk about it. And if you want to look any of this up, like here's the statutes, like let's chat more about it. I want to make sure that you feel like I have understood the questions well enough, and that we together are trying to put this together. I'm not forcing you to receive the guidance that I'm giving because I'm the only one who understands this. No. I want to make sure that you are making the best, most educated decision that you're making, and that you feel good about it. I mean, I don't know a better way that we could be trying to be in this particular practice other than trying to do just that.
Yeah, I like that. Like a lot of people think, hey, like the attorney's got to give the perfect answer, and they're supposed to be the smartest person in the situation, right? Or maybe trying to be the smartest person in the room, and that's really not. That's why like a lot of attorneys are called counselors. Like we're really not there to just tell our clients this is the perfect step for every situation, because each situation has multiple options on how you address them from a legal standpoint and just from common sense, right? Whether you're a business owner or setting up your trust for your family, you have options on how you approach it.
Sure.
In your opinion and your goals and objectives will change those recommendations. So I think it's really cool that ChatGPT is going to empower our clients more to be more thoughtful and be more engaged if they want to, right?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
information at their fingertips, they can they can get up to speed quicker. And then when they have that conversation with their attorney, like, this is what I'm thinking, or this is what I'm wanting, or this is what I've been learning about. If we do that, is that going to be good for me? And then that's where the attorney can really be super valuable to their client and say, actually, I'm worried about this, or I see this work better, or have you thought about this? And then the client can be like, oh, I didn't, so you're right, let's go this totally other way, this other direction. Or you get the peace of mind that everything you were thinking is the right way to go. But that's the thing I want people to be careful about. Like, if you do a bunch of online research and do a bunch of information, like search on ChatGPT or whatever, and you come up with this legal strategy or this legal structure or this legal whatever plan that you're going to execute, whether it's in your business or your estate plan or your tax planning, whatever it is, and you go to a professional and ask them, hey, is this plan going to work? And they tell you yes, that is a good plan, that's a great way to do it, I would do it that way. That doesn't mean the next time you do that, just because it was right one time doesn't mean you can now rely on it to be right going forward. I think every time you still need to go to someone you trust to confirm that you're on the right track.
Yep. No, I think that's 100%, Mike. Something that I like to think about when I'm trying to compare and understand a little bit better how I should be looking at ChatGPT, chatbots, AI chatbots, is to say it was kind of like Wikipedia, if we all remember when Wikipedia started to come out. Everybody thought that, oh, well, we're just going to dump a lot of information in here and it's going to replace, Encyclopedia Britannica, and it's just, all of this is good, valid information. But I think we all know kind of where it's all gone is that if anybody can add, then maybe the answers that it would provide me, the information that's given in Wikipedia, maybe it might not all be the best answers, right? But does that mean that we push it all aside? No, Wikipedia then, and so many other sources, like AI chatbots, I think it's a decent place to start, but not a place to finish.
Yeah,
right?
I like that. You can start there.
To capitalize just what you had said as well, that I hope that you would have a trusted advisor that you can go and talk to that would be able to help you kind of complete that research. That you start wherever you start with whatever knowledge base. You have a problem, you try and find out whatever the solution is, if you want to do it that way, and then come and talk to somebody and say, hey, am I flawed in this thinking? Let's work through this together. And hopefully then they would be able to say yes or no. So you're not all of a sudden putting together an estate plan based on, well, hey, I have less than $100,000 in assets and no house. Hey, I don't need anything. I can do small estates affidavit with your 6 cars, right? Like that example we looked at in the beginning, where you would have just kind of been all the way off the track, and to kind of touch on, well, and who would be bearing the brunt of that? It's your family, the ones you were trying to protect, right?
Yeah, they're the ones that then have to go pay for probate, and they could have gotten thousands more in inheritance, but instead they had to pay it to the court, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so you might save on the front end, but you pay on the back end. So you just have to have a. That's what we say, like almost every episode. You have to have someone who's a trusted advisor for you to help you make the best decisions.
Yep.
All right, is there any other tests we want to give the AI before we wrap up this episode, Taylor?
I don't know. You have anything burning in your mind?
I mean, and there's always tons of good questions to ask, but
tons of bad questions too.
There's some bad questions. Let's see. I can't. I don't have any good ones. My creative mind's not working today, so nothing fun or anything. Any fun ideas, Taylor?
No, I thought that my this piece that it actually ends with, when I asked, will chatbots take over, or replace attorneys? Here it says, it's more like paralegals on steroids than as opposed to a replacement for an attorney itself. And I think I'd have some paralegals that we work with and some law clerks that would take umbrage with that. See if they're able to do it. Say no, it's easy as that. Oh, it gives this analogy too that when calculators appeared, accountants weren't replaced, right? When when Excel spreadsheets appeared, CPAs weren't replaced, any of that. It just helps focus what exactly they're doing.
Okay, so I got one last, good question for ChatGPT we could ask. So if you wanted your estate plan to include a family treasure hunt, where your kids only get the inheritance after solving the clues about your family history, how could you structure that?
Love it.
We should do that one.
And
We'll leave that one for our audience to do on their own. How about that?
there you go. That's a good one. Bring it in. If you listen to this, bring it in. Let's have a chat.
Yeah. If you want to do a treasure hunt in your trust, ChatGPT it, bring in the results to us, and we'll let you know if we can make it happen.
Sounds good. Hey, to everybody out there, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll talk to you guys in a couple weeks.
See you, everybody.
You've been listening to Legacy Lawyers with Michael Haslam and Nathan Croxford. We give you the juicy detail of cases that our law firm has dealt with. We take out the lawyer talk and legalese and show you what options some of our clients had to choose from to fix their situation. The effects of not doing planning can be devastating. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hook up with us on Facebook and Instagram at Voyant Legal. Call us at 801-951-0500 or send us an email at team@voyantlegal.com. And for commonly asked questions, hit voyantlegal.com/resources. We'll see you next time.